Now we'll talk a little bit about MPLS monitoring. So MPLS moved my cheese, and don't get me wrong, MPLS is a fantastic protocol and potentially a pretty big cost savings for most businesses. Unfortunately, for traditional monitoring tools like network probes, it's made it more difficult to see what's happening at the remote locations. Worse yet, these remote locations need to not only have monitoring for network performance data, but they also have information security concerns. Luckily, StealthWatch can be used for both of these purposes in your network and provides more cost-effective solutions than traditional probe technologies. So here we're going to show you how StealthWatch can be used to give you all the inspection points you need for your network. StealthWatch leverages flow data to monitor remote MPLS links as well as the localized infrastructure, all from a single GUI interface. Now this information could be coming from existing routers and switches deployed within the network or lightweight flow sensors deployed at these locations. The goal is to be able to provide not only current utilization against these interfaces, but the ability to drill down for traffic parameters, whether that's associated with diff-serve code point traffic, autonomous system peer information, or most commonly interface application traffic, showing us the actual distribution of traffic mix across these interfaces over time. Now showing us what the overall traffic looks like over the last day. So using the chart properties, I can see what distribution of traffic has flowed over this link over time. When we do investigate spikes in activity or heavily congested interfaces, a simple right-click brings us into a configuration dialog where we can look at flow data to associate a flow table view for all of the traffic over a particular time increment, or looking at the top document, we can get a quick slice and dice on the data. Like I'll bring up top conversations right now so that we can get a quick look at what's causing the most congestion on this interface. Here, we see that 92% of the traffic during this spike is attributed to this host talking to this host. And it's over 4,500 UDP traffic and consumes 17 megs of data during that time increment. So it's very clear for us to understand what is the cause of a majority of the bandwidth moving through this time increment. Now this is really just one small facet of what can be done from StealthWatch to monitor your MPLS links. Obviously this is very beneficial from the perspective of network monitoring, but we also have a lot of monitoring around network security. So here, if I come into my security tab and bring up worm tracker, for instance, we can determine whether or not there have been any worms moving around within the network. So here we identify using these purple colors hosts that initiate worm activity within the network. These devices have managed to infect the green hosts, who in turn have begun scanning out to multiple subnets on their own, trying to infect additional resources. This is a very easy way for you to be able to determine what's going on. It becomes very important in MPLS monitoring because as we lose visibility, activities like this can spread without our knowledge. One last component I'll cover very quickly here as it pertains to security within MPLS is that StealthWatch is going to prioritize what hosts in the network are causing the biggest threats to you currently. To do this, we're going to look at our concern index report. What this document does for us is to prioritize which hosts within the network are acting the most atypically. Here we see that this 10.201.3.24 host is at 245% of what's considered to be acceptable behavior. Now, to get a little bit further into the investigation, we're just going to double-click on the host and be brought to a host snapshot. This data allows us to understand what's going on with these hosts even when they're deployed at remote MPLS locations. So here, we're able to ascertain that the host is scanning multiple networks within our ranges. He's doing it over TCP port 445, and we can even, using our identity integration, determine what user was logged into this resource. With MPLS, the biggest risk to our infrastructure is the lack of visibility enforced by the MPLS technology. Because sites are able to talk to each other, we have to have a way of monitoring these systems. StealthWatch restores this visibility to us through the use of either flow data from existing infrastructure components or the lightweight probes. This gives us the knowledge to deal with problems that arise within the business.